video. My name is Tom from 6 Foot Networks. Thank you for joining me today. I'm sitting outside. I just took a little break from my projects today. I came out to the Bolt EV and I'm sitting in the trunk like I normally do when the weather's appropriate. And, being that this makes a nice rooftop, it works out. I wanted to record this video for two reasons. One, it's been a while since you guys saw my pretty face, so I decided to, make myself seen. That's number one. Number two is it took me a few days to confirm some data that I was looking at, over the weekend and even into last week, and that was basically the demise. Car, it's not a stretch to imagine how much, of a nightmare, the battery recall has been for this platform. It's not a stretch to imagine how many, cars they bought back or, ultimately have to cover the cost of whatever it is, whether it's transporting them across the country or whatever it is. To not make this into a depressing babble, I'm just going to put it like this. The data that I came across was from about 6 days ago. There was an article written about GM transitioning the Orion plant in Michigan from the Bolt EV and EUV platform to essentially the Equinox and I guess the Silverado EVs, which makes sense. Both of those vehicles are based on the Ultium platform, not so much the BEV2 platform or the Bolt EV2 platform. And it in some ways it makes sense, in some ways it kind of hurts. And you could probably tell, how I feel about it. I do love this car, but I do understand from a business standpoint that it may or may not make sense to maintain this model. I feel like this car had a lot of promising years ahead of it in terms of the model line, in terms of its lineage. This car for sure has a long life in front of it. I have zero issues in this car. In fact, the only issue I have right now in this car is that I crossed 15,000 miles without spending a dime on it, in terms of maintenance, of course. But you can kind of see inside. I drive my car very hard. I do not do the featherweight accelerations. I do most of the time full power launches, and the whole idea of going back to an ICE vehicle has essentially been erased with the help of this beautiful car. And you guys know I use this car for personal, I use this car for business, and I have yet to find something really, just bad with it or wrong with it. Outside of a few tiny design details that I would do differently, I don't think that the car as a whole should be scrapped. I think maybe the next Bolt EV and EUV model should be braced with the Ultium battery. I honestly think that it wouldn't be a stretch for GM to do that, and I think I think those cars would sell quite nicely, actually. In fact, I believe that all of the repaired Bolt EVs will have a much greater resale value in the end because they are repaired and they are great electric vehicles, especially if you're starting out. This is my first EV. I have not owned any hybrids or anything. My last vehicle was a diesel Jetta from VW, and it was a great car, but it was a a large contributor to one of the major problems we have on this planet. But suffice it to say, I'm not going to rehash that article because it is a little bummy, especially if you are a true follower of the Bolt EV. And I like to think of myself as a true follower, and I believe in the car. I've always believed in it. In fact, I never had a single doubt in my mind that this car would leave me stranded. Uh, Outside of maybe the tire exploding or something, which I also haven't had. But I will tell you that that's one of the first things I would change if I were to buy this vehicle. I would definitely look at different tires. These ones I'm just trying to run down to about 20,000 miles, and then I am going to replace them. I don't know with what yet. It doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there for this video, but I did want to share with you guys one thing. Um, a lot of my fears, and I guess personal, I don't know if it's biases or whatnot. A lot of that personal noise in the back of my head was cured because of this car. When I bought this car, there were still questions. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had range anxiety every 10 minutes, and maybe that comes from the fact that I'm a systems engineer and I work with computers all day long. And the batteries in computers or phones or mobile devices or what have you tend to suck really badly. You hear, I hear people complaining about the life of their phone being anywhere from 45 minutes to 15 hours on a given charge, and that's a vicious range. I thought to myself when I bought this car, God, am I going to have one of these days where I wake up and my car's going to have 10 minutes of life? Like, am I going to be able to go down the street and then come back home? This car has outperformed every single one of my fears, and it did it without even trying. It was designed that way. It was built to perform really well. And considering the price tag, you can get into a Hummer or even, one of the Lyrics for $100,000, or whatever it is, $80,000 to $100,000. But that's two of these cars. That's literally two of these exact cars. The premier top of the line with all the safety and comfort packages on top of it. This car was $44,000 off the line. And for me, it was important to have a vehicle that'll last me a long time and that will do what I need it to do. It continues to do so. I'm sitting here. I'm proud to be a Bolt EV owner. I'm a little disappointed as to how, how things just kind of unfurled for the line for its lineage. But at the same time, it is what it is. I have no say in what, GM does, and I don't know. I mean, am I thinking about getting rid of it? No, I'm not. I'm still waiting for the new battery. I'm holding out, but it hasn't changed a single thing for me. I still, like I said, drive this thing super hard. I charge it sometimes 3 or 4 times a day, just depending on what I'm doing. And, right now, this car is literally my primary form of transportation. I would take this car across the country in favor of an airplane, So, actually, I guess not in favor of an airplane because I don't fit in airplanes. So, it's not a stretch to believe I'm 6.5 feet tall and I weigh 300 pounds. Try to squeeze me into an airplane seat. Whereas in this car, I have all the space in the world. For those that know me, I travel pretty regularly. Well, pre-pandemic, I traveled regularly to Las Vegas every year from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. And I had an incident where I guess a flight was booked, and I was heading up to the National Association of Broadcasters conference that's held up there in the spring, pretty much annually. And the year before the pandemic struck, I was actually asked by one of the counter agents to buy 2 tickets. So there's your story of why I hate airlines. I absolutely despise them because those jets can carry so much more than what they are carrying. You know, and considering how much you're paying for luggage and how much you're paying for tickets and check bags and all the bells and whistles that you have to pay for that are considered a la carte, why not just load this baby up, right? Charge her up, and then venture up the freeways. It's calm, it's quiet. You can stop, at a rest stop, stretch, charge the car. There's, I think, 2 or 3 charging facilities between here and Vegas, not to mention a beautiful Electrify America charging facility that's in Vegas proper. And I think there are actually 2 free ones that are run by the state of California on the way. So, if you want to stop at a trusty Electrify America, or you want to use one of the, I don't know if it's California or somebody, but they're free chargers essentially. You just plug in, you give it an hour, and you're done. They're not in any sense fast, like super fast chargers, but I think they pump out 50 kilowatts for sure. Anyway, I digress. My stories are neither here nor there. This goes back to what GM's decision is, and I feel like for me, why do I feel like I'm going to be the last guy standing with this car? I'm okay with that, actually. I know that's not true, because I know there's a lot of you here that, just like me, stand beside your Bolt EV and are working with, your dealership or whatever to solve the battery problem with the recall. But at the same time, I know a lot of people who got stretched thin or got pressured by the safety issues or just the fears of having, an incident where property would get lost or destroyed. I get it. I totally get it. I have no hard feelings, no animosity. I mean, why would I? I wouldn't call myself an advocate for this car, but I will just tell you that if you are a person who loves this vehicle or has, any electric vehicle, then you know that this is relatively a new platform and anything can happen at any time. The fact that all these vehicles burned up in fires is not necessarily it's not an indicator as to how well the platform behaves. It's not an indicator as to, whether or not you're doomed. It's just an indicator that there was a design flaw that GM addressed. It took a while, The fact that it happened during a pandemic doesn't help the cause any, because, it takes that much more effort to source parts or to get, circuitry or whatever, these packs have in them that is, that is worth all the hassle. And you know what I will say, that we kind of knew from the beginning that GM was going to lose a lot of money on this platform. And it's estimated, and again, this is not confirmed, it's estimated that each vehicle sold, GM lost $9,000 on. Whether or not that's true or not remains yet to be seen. But it's, again, not a stretch. You got to figure that, LG footed the bill for the battery pack, right? They paid for it effectively. GM didn't lose too much money, except for maybe some of the buybacks that they had to deal with. but I don't know how operationally they're handling it. All I know right now, for the purpose of this video, is that the production lines for this model vehicle are going to be converted to the Equinox EV and I believe it's the Blazer EV. And honestly, if I had to let go of this car, I would probably look at the Blazer EV. Equinox, maybe not. But for no other reason than just personal preference. I don't see anything wrong with it or anything like that. But I find that the Blazer kind of is a little bit more attractive to me, design-wise, and also, I guess, bang for the buck. That's just my opinion. I'll leave you guys there with that. I don't mean to make this sound bummy and gloomy and doomy, even though it's one of those gloomy days. It's really gray outside, so I probably look really gray in this video, but I decided to do this outside. Forgive all the cars passing by. I am near a major intersection, but I thought I'd reach out to you guys, say hello, and thank you guys as always for watching. Go down in the comments, drop your line. I know I haven't been down there in a while, but you know what? This afternoon, I'm going to respond to some comments. I got a nice backlog of about 2-3 weeks maybe of comments. So I got to look at all those, respond, and do what I can do to, keep in touch with you guys. I appreciate you greatly. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, as always. And then, I guess, take care, and until next time, thank you for watching.